What's up, you guys? If you don't know, my name is Olivia Broadwater, and I basically work with my clients to teach them how to start and market a t-shirt business. So before I sold t-shirts online, I was selling onesies, and over time that became a tedious process for me. At least I found it to be tedious, and my husband had an interest in t-shirts. So he purchased partial of the supplies. So he bought the Cricut, he bought one of those 12 by 12 squares you can get from Joann's, your local craft store, and a shirt from Walmart. That's what he had, and that's what he started with. And I had an interest in it because I thought that maybe it'll be a little bit easier. The process of making it to a finished product will be much easier versus a onesie. So I jumped into making t-shirts instead of baby onesies. Now keep in mind, I had no clue where to start with a t-shirt. I had never created a t-shirt to that day. So as far as the supplies that he had already purchased himself, that's all we had. So that was the Cricut machine, the t-shirt from Walmart, and the 12 by 12 sheet of vinyl from Joann. The very first shirt was made with an iron and our bed. We just made the shirt on the bed. We didn't even have a table. Well, we had the kitchen table, but we didn't want to put the iron on the kitchen table. So we didn't even have a heat press. That's all I knew. I didn't know anything else. Wholesale, where to get wholesale from, where to start. I didn't know anything else. So I basically had to rough it out and just go out there and try to find out how this worked and how this will work. So I messaged another t-shirt seller on Etsy, and I asked them basically in a nice way who your vendor was. And I know that a lot of people keep this information discreet. They don't want to share it with the public, and you know, I get it sometimes, but sometimes it's good to share, help someone out. And luckily they shared with me their vendor for their t-shirts, their wholesale t-shirts. So now I have found out where to get my t-shirts from. As for the heat transfer vinyl, I started ordering that offline. I just googled heat transfer vinyl and just tested it out. I didn't know if it was going to be quality, if it was going to work correctly. I just went for it and bought one at a time, and over time I just found the one that I liked the best. I already had my cutter and I needed a heat press, so I went on to Amazon to get a heat press, and that ran me about between $100 to $200 for the heat press. And once the heat press arrived, I had everything to create a t-shirt. But then it was time for me to practice on a t-shirt and really get a system down of production of how to create a t-shirt or print a t-shirt from home. So I had to find out the right temperature I needed my heat press on, how to weed my vinyl, and basically overall how to produce a quality t-shirt at the end to sell to a customer. Once I got my process down packed, because it is a learning curve if you're starting from ground zero, I chose Etsy for my selling platform because at the time, still today they've changed a little bit, but at the time they were all about handmade items, and I knew that they brought their own traffic in, so I didn't have to pay for my own traffic. If I were to get a Shopify site, I would have to pay for my own traffic to bring that in. Etsy, I knew from selling things on there previously that they brought in their own traffic. So I chose Etsy to sell my t-shirts on. And over time, I learned from trial and error. I made a lot of mistakes. One story I would like to share is, it was 4th of July was coming up. A lot of people had bought tank tops from me, and I went through the whole process. I weeded the vinyl or cut the vinyl, all that good stuff, made all the tanks, great, packaged them, took them to the drop off. Like, you know, where you go to your local post office, you don't have to go in, you can just drop it off in the little box thing outside. That's what I did, and this isn't the first time I'm using this box. I've used it over time throughout the whole year. There was no warning sign, nothing. Once I dropped it off, I came back a week later, a couple days later, customers started asking where their package was. So I checked the tracking. The tracking didn't even say that it was scanned at the post office. So I went to go check the drop box. The drop box wasn't even there. They removed the drop box without any notice. There was no notice. They didn't even take the box around. And this is at least $200 to $300 worth of orders, okay? That's lost. Imagine how I felt. I felt horrible. My customers, first off, my customers were not gonna get their product in enough time because 4th of July was like at least a week out from the time that I delivered it. I originally delivered the product in enough time for it to reach the customer so they could wear it for 4th of July. And now they won't be able to. So now I have customers to deal with in customer service to let them know, hey, you won't be able to receive your product. I'm out of that money that I used to create all of those shirts. And now I'm just, that's it. There was nothing, you know, there was nothing I could do besides apologize to my customers and take that L, because I contacted the postal office. There was no answer. You know, it takes forever and a day for you to get in contact with somebody on their end. I just had to take that L, give my customers their money back, because that is what a good business owner does, and that's what I did. From that day forward, I just learned to just take it straight to the post office, where there is a human being transaction of me handing it to you, and then you scan it. And that's what I did from that day forward, because sometimes they do remove those things, I guess, if the property owner doesn't want it on there anymore. But that is the big lesson I learned from that. I just give it straight to the post office. And that mistake was discouraging. However, I did continue to keep going. I'm glad that I did, because I'm here today and I'm able to teach you all my mistakes and my lessons that I've learned. And also, I don't know if I mentioned, but I did create my own mock-ups. I know that they have, you basically have it made nowadays where you can just buy the mock-up. Back then, they had a lot of computer generated mock-ups that didn't really look realistic, so I made my own mock-ups. I was outside in the hot sun taking my own photos of my product, and I even made my own background for my t-shirts. I went to Home Depot, bought some wood, bought some nails, and bought some paint, and made it work. And it did work. It gave me sales, and the whole idea behind that was to stand out of the crowd. And as time moved on in my business, I basically started to focus more so on, once I got sales, I wanted to know, how could I make more sales? How can I increase my conversion rates? All of those logistics. That is what I focused on moving forward. And that's what took my t-shirt business from $0 in sales to making over 200K in sales, and continuing to steadily grow today. And through my t-shirt business struggles, I created T-Shirt Making 101, which teaches you the exact steps, methods, and techniques it takes to print a t-shirt from start to finish. And if you find yourself stuck in the process like I did, then this course is definitely for you. And as I said, if you're interested, go ahead and click the link below. As always, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching. And if you have any questions, definitely leave them in the comments below.